Once upon a time, there existed a kingdom of shapes, whose citizens were edgy and rulers were round. It existed in the middle of a desolate plain known as the Pythagorica. Unbeknownst to all, the kingdom was on the edge of apocalyptic destruction. All except for the Prince Pi. He received a sign from an axis unknown. On the day of the 3rd of May, Prince Pi's 18th radii made him change his ways. A shape exactly congruent to his appeared in the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. And so, the prince ventured out of his quadrant for the first time in his life. He left the palace of circles at the origin of the kingdom to follow this odd anomaly. Rolling down south to the quadrant of 3, he couldn't have expected all that he would see. The circles of royalty never left the positive planes, except for those who were banished, the irrational and undefined. As he ventured further, the shapes around him had begun to vanish, divided into two. Screams of terrors echoed all throughout the quadrant. Shapes retreated into their houses, seeking refuge in 5 sides. The kingdom was littered with all those irrational shapes who had recently died. As the prince rolled further and further away, he began to grow weak. His circumference became bleak. As his circumference began to shrink, so did the world around. He felt an experience unlike any other, no longer bounded to the plane. A third direction he was pulled into, unknown to all before, brought into a world undefined, unbounded in the 2 axes alone. His derivative was 0, yet he was still moving. If not in x, if not y, he started moving up. "Welcome to space," said a voice from an unknown direction. "I am an object more than one face. I am known as Sphericus the Great." "Where am I?" asked the prince, unable to see the voice from this unknown direction. Space is a land where a third direction exists. Not north, not south, not west, not east, but up and down. You are a circle from the land of plains. "Why am I here?" "Because, young circle," says another voice, the voice of a woman. "My name is Empress Spherica, and I have summoned you to save your world." "Save my world? But everything is whole and rational in my land." "Alas, young circle, your land is being destroyed by an invisible force. An object like us, known as a stellate, is trying to reconfigure your plane. He is trying to assimilate your shapes and become transcendent." "How am I supposed to stop this? I cannot even see you." "I grant you the power of sight in the 3rd dimension for you to save your world. Take the isosceles army of King Dementia and destroy the stellate." The young prince was infused with the knowledge of innumerable circles. He was infused with the knowledge of spheres. And so, he returned to the origin where the stellate approached. "Back to square one," said the forces of the king, retreating to the first gate. "Triangles all around, converge onto me, for I can see the dimension is 3. We are under siege by an object above, not up nor down, but in the plane we cannot see. We must destroy it, for the sake of the plane. Let us be at the mercy of the stellate." "Prince Pi," said General Secant, "we cannot see our foe. How are we supposed to defeat it?" "Listen to me and move away from the point I specify. Then converge when the shape becomes apparent. Evacuate -1, 1. The triangles moved away as the stellate attacked. The stellate's vertex became lodged in the land below Pythagorica, and the edges became real. The triangles converged on the multi-sided shape, bisecting every side with their sharpest points. A scream echoed from X, Y, and Z. The stellate was weakened and fell to the plane, vulnerable to the army of 3s. A hole was torn in the Pythagorica, and in it fell the stellate. The axes became distorted, and the triangles around the rift were instantly destroyed. Within moments, the satellite reappeared through the rift and vanished. Curious, Prince Pi peered into the hole. His newfound sight in the third dimension allowed him vision in the unknown world. Objects, unlike any other he had seen, were lined up in rows of thousands. His curiosity brought him into the third dimension once again, this time of his own accord. Hundreds of spheres floated above these roads, hovering ominously. Pythagorica was there, in a row of one. "Now you know the secret of your world," said Sphericus from behind. "There are more of my world?" "Your world was the first, the original two-dimensional world. Our worlds are intertwined. We are dependent upon you for our own survival. We had to recreate your world in order to ensure the survival of both of our races," said Empress Spherica. "Will my world survive? Only time will tell. But for now, we will transfer every citizen of Pythagorica to these satellite worlds," said Spherica. The sun rose over the horizon of Spaceland. "What's that light? I've never seen more than one color of light," asked Prince Pi. "That is the light refracted by the Prism," said Spherica, "the hero who saved our world from destruction by the fourth dimension."